This is by far the most dangerous mindset that a person could have. But first, let me ask you a question. Why do you study? Some people may say that I'm studying because I want to get a degree, I want to graduate high school, I want to graduate college, I want to have a high paying job that could help me, pay off my student loan and, help my parents live a comfortable life. And as soon as people graduate college, they stop learning. And this is the mindset that kills almost everyone inside. There are two ways to approach education. The first way is to approach it as a way to graduate college and get a high paying job. Some people, they just go to school, they study whatever the teacher gave them, they get high marks, they go to college, they do the same thing again, and they just graduate. They got the degree, they got a job, and they just stop learning. They stop learning for themselves, they stop growing, and they just work that job for like 30 or 40 years straight. And if they are lucky enough to keep that job, okay? And when they are like 60 or 70 years old, they look back at their journey and there's nothing noticeable. There's nothing special about their journey, bro. 30, 40 years of them are being invested in working a 9 to 5 and, you know, just living day to day. And I'm not sitting here to judge anyone at all, okay? Everyone has the right to do anything they want. And I respect that a lot. But it feels like people are not valuing education as what is meant to be, right? The second way that people approaches education is that they see education as a way to improve their skills, as a way to, facilitate and support their goals and purpose. They have a whole, business, they have a whole, startup or something, and they need to acquire knowledge more in order to keep growing their business or anything that they want. They maybe want to grow a garden, they maybe want to, raise a golden retriever and they don't know how to. And that's where education proves its ability, right? And nowadays, education is free. It's so easy to learn something nowadays. But most people, they just choose to ignore it. They just choose to live their life, mindlessly. Um, they wake up, they go to school or work, they went back home, they open their phone, they scroll on TikTok again. And they keep repeating that for the next 40 or 50 years. And to me, that is just really sad, bro. It's the reality that I never wanted to happen to anyone. Because while it might give you, dopamine and pleasure throughout the days, in the long run, that dopamine is gonna diminish or being desensitized to because you are so used to it and you limit yourself into this small sphere. It's your bubble of your whole world and it's looking pretty small, right? You can tell by, about yourself. I'm not, I cannot, I don't know you, so I cannot say anything about you, but just doing some self-reflect and see recently, does your life have anything meaningful to you, right? And it just, like, because for some reason, like, whenever people hear the word education, they're thinking about those boring subjects, the boring, seminars, lectures, and exams that they have to go through. And this is not anyone's fault, alright? It's the education system fault. At a young age, we are programmed to, just go to school and, study whatever the teachers give to us without even questioning. The school forces us to sit in a place for long hours. You only get to go, have a break for like 20 or 30 minutes and then you have to go back into class and study the things that you are despised. For me, it's math, bro. Like every time there's like a math class, I was always, complaining in my head and I'll be like, holy shit, I have to sit here for like 1.5 hours again. And I just want to go home, bro, because the educational system have made studying really, really boring. I found out that I learn the best when there's, a story, a really interesting story that, um, combining and, implementing stories and lessons into one, and besides that, I also study the best when there's illustrations, pictures. Like if you put a lot of pictures and illustration inside of your lesson, everyone is just gonna study better, bro. It's just the truth, bro. But look at the textbook nowadays. There's just text and numbers, and it's so boring. Just so you know dreadful to me. I know that it's a must, it's a requirement, and you have to study in order to success or something. But I just think that it kills your inner child so much, bro. Bro, I would rather read like a kindergarten book rather than just studying maths and science and all of that stuff. Chemistry, yeah, I hate chemistry, bro. And study can be great if it can help you to improve on what you haven't perfect yet. It's help Education is meant to help you to improve what you are not good at, right? Instead, you are learning like this insignificant stuff that will have no contribution to your life when you graduate. You know that's why self educating is really important. It's not just like the moment you graduated from university. It's not the end, bro. It's just the beginning of your journey to be a lifelong student. Remember that. Lifelong student. Use that as your motto. Use that as a way of living. You keep on studying what you like, studying what you need in order to achieve your goals and purpose. Not just open your textbook and doing your homework and doing equations and solving chemistry in equation, or you name it. Like, just like, if the teachers told you to do that, just do that, bro. Don't just say that, bro. This is a scam, bro. I hate you. Just don't say that. Just do the work. Implementing, like, just experiencing what its college looks like. Just because for myself, I want to take on as many experience as I could. Learning a lot of skills going through college. Even though a lot of people would say that it is a scam. I don't know. I haven't experienced myself, so the best thing that me and you could do is to experience life. To find your purpose, to find your goals, is to experience life, knowing what good for you and knowing what you like, and separate it from the things that you hate, you despise, and the things that will not contribute anything to your future, right? And some people, when they hear the word self-educating, they might say that I don't have time, bro. That's just an excuse for your laziness, bro. You have a lot of times, even though you have a job, even though you might have some family members that you need to be around. There's a lot of time in between the other things. When you go to the toilet, when you are on the train, go back to your home, you have lots of time of waiting until you reach your destination. Read some books, bro. Bring you a book and just read. It can be fiction, it can be classic, it can be, self-help books that you find useful. Just don't overdo it. So, yeah, if you are in your toilet, because like in one day you have to go to the toilet for like 20 or 30 minutes, right? I know that's maybe too long. It's for me, but maybe for some of you guys it might be like 5 to 10 minutes. And in that time, you can just read whatever you like, bro. Gaining knowledge, studying while you're pooping, because you're wasting a lot of time, doing things that are, in like when you're taking a break, right, from school or from work, you can educate yourself in those time. When you are stuck in traffic, you can open some podcasts and audio, radio to listen to gain even more knowledge, right? there are a lot of opportunities for you to study. But most people nowadays, they just don't really see that. They only see their break times as break times. They will go on YouTube, they go on TikTok, they fill themselves with, cheap dopamine, and when they finish, their brain just feels empty, bro. They're playing video games, even though they have so much fun, but at the end of the day, they have nothing left. They haven't gained anything valuable in that day. And this is just so waste of time, bro. It's just a waste of time, to be honest, bro. I'm guilty of this myself. I watch YouTube every day. I used to scroll TikTok for like 8 or 9 hours straight. And bro, after that, bro, my mom and my dad just was so disappointed at me, and I was feel so empty and guilty and disgusting inside. And I realized that I've been wasting lots of time on not educating myself even more, because I remember when I was like 15 or 16, I've until that point I was a gamer, I was a loser, and my life is just revolving around eating, studying, playing video games, go to sleep, pooping, and all of those stuff in between. I never once think about how to improve myself, how to become the best version of myself. But I didn't know better, bro. And this is the point. Most people, they're not lazy, bro. They just, they don't know what to do. And, you know, and that's why self-educating is the best thing that you could do right now. Keep studying, keep going, gain more knowledge, study more valuable skills, the skills that you might need in the future, right? Like AI is just taking over the world right now, and learning a few things about it won't hurt. And you gotta have lots of skill in order to expanding your options even more. Like if you have only a degree in like computer science or something in university, your chances are like virtually non-existent, right? You only have one degree, and you can only use that degree like in a certain field and area. While there's a lot of skills out there are might be more valuable than that, and you have to explore it. You have to figure out what is the best thing that can benefit you today. What is the best skills and degree that might help you in the future, and that's all. Just go out and experiencing life, bro. It's just that simple. You can just forget everything that I just said previously and just remember that you need to experience life. You have to be a lifelong student, bro. Remember that. And I wish you the best, bro. Thank you for watching. uh, Peace. Yeah, I'm kind of awkward right now, so I'm gonna edit video.